Eruvin 52b. The Gemara comments, in accordance with whose opinion did Rav Natan bar Oshaya act? Apparently, it was in accordance with the opinion of Rav Yosef that everyone agrees that he must set out on his way, and in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yosef bar Yehuda that he need not declare that he is establishing his residence at the end of his Shabbat limit. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No, that is not necessarily so, as it is possible to say that he acted according to the opinion of Rabbah, and in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. And Rav Yehuda bar Ishtada declared that he establishes his residence at the end of his Shabbat limit. We learned in the Mishnah that Rabbi Meir says, anyone who can establish an Eruv and negated his residence in his original place and did not establish an Eruv is likened to both a donkey driver and a camel driver. The Gemara asks, didn't we have already learned it once before in another Mishnah? In a case of uncertainty, Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda say, this person is likened to both a donkey driver and a camel driver. Here too, it is obvious that the same applies, as that is Rabbi Meir's opinion with regard to all uncertain cases. Rav Sheshet said, it is necessary to state this ruling here as well, so that you will not say the reason for Rabbi Meir's statement only applies in a case where there is uncertainty whether one established an Eruv or did not establish an Eruv, and in that case he is likened to both a donkey driver and a camel driver. However, in a case where there is certainty that he did not establish an Eruv, he is not likened to both a donkey driver and a camel driver, but his Shabbat limit is the same as the rest of the residents of his city. Rather, say that even in a case where there is certainty that he did not establish an Eruv, he is sometimes likened to both a donkey driver and a camel driver. As here he certainly did not establish an Eruv, and yet he is likened to both a donkey driver and a camel driver. It was therefore necessary to state that even in that case, where there is no uncertainty whether or not he established the Eruv, but only with regard to the location of his residence, he nonetheless has the status of both a donkey driver and a camel driver. Mishnah. One who intentionally, not for the purpose of performing a mitzvah, went out beyond his Shabbat limit, even if only 1 cubit, may not re-enter. Rabbi Eliezer says, if he went out 2 cubits, he may re-enter. However, if he went out 3 cubits, he may not re-enter. Gemara. Rabbi Hanina said, if one of his feet was within the Shabbat limit, and his other foot was beyond the Shabbat limit, he may not re-enter, as it is written, if you turn away your feet, Raglecha, due to Shabbat, Isaiah 58:13. The word Raglecha is written in defective form without the letter Yad, and can therefore be read as your foot in the singular, indicating that Shabbat can be desecrated by the re-entry of even a single foot. The Gemara raises a difficulty, but wasn't the opposite taught in a Bereta? If one of his feet was within the Shabbat limit, and his other foot was beyond the Shabbat limit, he may re-enter. The Gemara answers, in accordance with whose opinion is this taught? It is in accordance with the opinion of Ahirim, as it was taught in a Bereta. Ahirim say, he is attributed to the place where the majority of his body lies, and therefore it is permitted for him to enter, as he stepped out with only one foot. The Gemara cites a different version of the previous discussion. Some say that Rabbi Hanina said, if one of his feet was within the Shabbat limit, and his other foot was beyond the Shabbat limit, he may re-enter, as it is written, if you turn away your feet due to Shabbat. Isaiah 58:13. We read the word raglecha as your feet, in the plural, indicating that the entry of a single foot is permitted. The Gemara raises a difficulty, but wasn't the opposite taught in a Bereta? He may not re-enter. The Gemara answers, Rabbi Hanina stated his opinion in accordance with the opinion of Ahirim, as it was taught in a Bereta. He is attributed to the place where the majority of his body is located, and it is therefore permitted to enter, as most of his body remains within the Shabbat limit. We learned in the Mishnah that Rabbi Eliezer says, if he went out 2 cubits, he may re-enter. However, if he went out 3 cubits, he may not re-enter. The Gemara asks, but wasn't it taught otherwise in a Bereta? Rabbi Eliezer says, if he went out 1 cubit, he may re-enter. However, if he went out 2 cubits, he may not re-enter. The Gemara answers, that is not a difficulty. This, the Mishnah, is referring to a case where he moved from the 1st cubit and is now standing 2 cubits out, and therefore it is permitted for him to re-enter. However, that the Bereta is referring to a case where he moved from the 2nd cubit and is now standing 3 cubits out. Consequently, it is prohibited for him to re-enter. The Gemara raises another difficulty. But wasn't it taught in a different Bereta that Rabbi Eliezer says, even if he went 1 cubit out, he may not enter? The Gemara answers, when that Bereta was taught, it was with regard to one measuring his limit by counting 2,000 steps. As we learned in a Mishnah, and for one established residence in a particular place, and is now measuring his limit by counting out steps, with regard to whom the sages said one provides him with 2,000 cubits. Even if his measurement ended in a cave, he may not walk even 1 cubit beyond his measurement. Mishnah. With regard to one for whom it grew dark while he was traveling outside the Shabbat limit of the town where he was heading, even if he was only 1 cubit outside the limit, he may not enter the town. Rabbi Shimon says, even if he was 15 cubits beyond the limit, he may enter the town. Because the surveyors do not precisely demarcate the measures. Rather, they mark the Shabbat limit within the 2,000 cubits due to those who err. Gemara. With regard to the Mishnah statement, due to those who err, it is taught in a Bereta, due to those who err in their measurement. In other words, because the surveyors are concerned that they might have erred in their measurements, they are stringent and do not position the mark at the edge of the limit, but move it several cubits within the limit. Mishnah. How does one extend the boundaries of cities in order to ensure that all its protrusions are included within the borders of the city? He extends a straight line across the edge of the city, and if a house is recessed and another house protrudes, or a turret, pagum, is recessed and another turret protrudes from that line, and similarly, if there were remnants of walls 10 handbreadths high,